4th of July. Grow some wings and learn to fly. Got a wind on my back just like I like. I said simplify, simplify. Don't know where to go.
Ready to simplify life with diabetes? Get started today with a free 30-day Omnipod DASH trial. Go to omnipod.com/free for risk information, instructions for use, and free trial terms and conditions. Consult your healthcare provider before starting on Omnipod. Simplify diabetes. Simplify life. Omnipod.
Rated mature audiences only. A viewer discretion is advised. Broadcasting from the Big Peach of Atlanta, Georgia. A show unfiltered, unscripted, raw. The Patriot Angle Podcast. Hey folks, welcome to Friday's edition of the Patriot Angle Podcast. I'm your host Mike. On to today's show. I'm going to keep it quick and simple today. I don't know. I just don't have it in me today. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Don't have it in me to, do an hour show. But I just wanted to let you know that this is going to be the last show until Wednesday. My next show is going to be Wednesday. I'm going to be doing other things on Monday, so won't be having a show on Monday. But we'll have a show on Wednesday. So look out for next week's show on Wednesday, as well as Friday's show. So with that being said, welcome to Friday's edition. Got a lot to talk about. I want to get into some scenarios, some topics here. Different things. What's buzzing? Literally buzzing the headlines here. Let's get into Breitbart News. Where to start, right? Where to start? I want to get into this one subject here where it's either mask up or vax. It started to become a cult, guys. Literally a cult. There's this one topic here I want to get into with that, where Marine Corps silent drill platoon in D.C. still required to wear masks outdoors in summer heat. Yeah, these Marines, guys, are required to wear masks in 90-plus degree weather in D.C. Members of the Marine Corps silent drill platoon at the Marine Corps barracks in Washington, just south of the U.S. Capitol, are still required, folks, to wear cloth masks when they rehearse and perform outdoors at their summer evening parades, despite COVID-19 deaths in the area dropping to single digits. And like I said, the temperatures reaching into the mid-90s. I mean, folks, why is this becoming the new norm? Either mask up or vax. It's turning into a cult. Like I said, a cult. According to inside sources and photos and videos posted on official social media accounts, members of the silent drill platoon, like I said, still wear masks. Despite both D.C. and Virginia lifting their mask mandates months ago, and the 7-day average for COVID-19 deaths falling below 4 since May 2020 in Arlington County, Virginia, and below 5 since February of 2021 in that district. But they are still required to wear masks despite temperatures reaching in the mid-90s with humidity around 40 to 50%, and despite not having any contact during the parades with senior leaders, distinguished guests, and members of the public, who all do not have to wear masks to attend the parades. So if everybody else besides these Marines have to wear masks and the others don't, what is the point behind this? Is this just political theater? I mean, seriously, folks, right? Like, what the hell is the point? Well, we got to make the CDC happy, I guess, right? Oh, they're not going to be happy when you have a Marine pass out in 90-degree weather because he's wearing a mask and he can't really breathe correctly. Oh, but don't say that to the CDC. They don't want to hear that. No, they don't want to hear that. They got to look at numbers. Even though Virginia and D.C. lifted their mask mandates months ago, you still have the Marines in uniform wearing a mask in 90-plus degree weather. Folks, this is I'm telling you, this shit has to go away. It has to go away. Is 2024 here yet? I mean, seriously. In other news, oh boy, it gets even worse, folks. In other news, Fauci now, Dr. Fauci is saying stunning people do not want to get vaccinated. It's not a folly of thinking. Yeah, no shit they don't want to get vaccinated because they don't trust what's in the damn vaccine. Just like the other half of the country. We don't trust it. We're not going to be part of this get vaxxed or mask up cult. I think we're dropping the Kool-Aid, so to speak, there, Dr. Doom, right? Guest host Tiffany Cross had the doctor on the show here and given his thought. Check this out, guys.
Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases and Chief Medical Advisor to President Joe Biden. Dr. Fauci, I'm honored to have you here with me on the program tonight, and I want to get right into it because a lot of people have a lot of questions. And I will tell you, when I come across people who haven't been vaccinated, they say, well, I've been okay so far, I haven't caught COVID, and right now I'm more anxious about the vaccine than I am catching COVID. What is your advice to those folks tonight?
Here it comes.
I think they just need to look at the numbers that you just mentioned. 99.5% of the people who've been hospitalized and died died from COVID-19 are unvaccinated, and about 0.5% are among the vaccinated individuals. If you look at the numbers again that you just mentioned, we have a large percentage of the new infections that we're reporting every day are in those regions of the country where the vaccination rate is very, very low. It is really very unfortunate for someone to say that I have not gotten infected yet, that means I'm okay, is just not facing the reality of the high degree of effectiveness of the vaccine, the threat of the virus, and the fact that you look at the risk-benefit ratio of the vaccine versus adverse effects of the vaccine, it just overwhelmingly falls in favor of vaccination. So we really need to reach out to people, and that's probably done best by trusted messengers who they might trust to try and convince them that the folly of thinking that everything is going to be okay if people don't get vaccinated, it's going to be really a real problem. As you said, we likely have two types of America, those who are vaccinated and those who are not, and the risk for those who are not vaccinated is substantial.
Yeah, and it's so scary because with this Delta variant, as we talked about, it's highly transmissible.
It's so scary. Oh boy, let's bring in more of the fear mongering. Yes, we're gonna bring more of the fear mongering. Yes, we're gonna have two different types of Americas: people that are vaccinated and people that aren't vaccinated. So is this the new path for America, folks? Like, literally, are we going to criticize people that don't want to get vaccinated? Seriously.
I think you have to look at the numbers that you just mentioned. 99% or 99.5% or 96% or 75%.
Come on. We're getting tired of this crap. You never mentioned that half of these deaths aren't really related to COVID, haven't you? What happened to heart disease? What happened to cancer? What happened to diabetes? That just magically was cured overnight, right? Because of this pandemic. Please, don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. It's craziness. Bunch of hypocritic nut jobs. Hypocritic nut jobs. And I can tell you why the Dems are hypocrites. Did you see that story that was buzzing just yesterday? Or was it the day before? A few days ago. July 12th, right? Where a bunch of maskless Democrats literally were seen in a photo that Breitbart put on their website. Yeah, they were fleeing from Texas to go to D.C. to protest to block the GOP integrity vote new bill that's being signed. They were on a plane. What is it? Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. About 15, 20 people on a private plane, right? Probably being on the expense of taxpayers' money. Beers and private booze in their hand. Did they have masks on? No, they did not have masks on. Were they vaccinated? Probably not. If they were vaccinated, who knows, right? But did they have the mask on? No, they were posing in a picture with showing peace signs, the majority of them, with smiles on their face, right? But none of them were masks, right? None of them were masks. Maskless Democrat members. Like I said, I mentioned this on my my Wednesday show. Members of the Texas state smiled gleefully as they fled from Texas to Washington, D.C. on Monday as part of their protest to halt the Texas GOP efforts to strengthen election safeguards in the Lone Star State. None of them were masked. And the pictures showed clearly several smiling, maskless. Literally. Bunch of hypocrites. Don't even want to hear it. Don't even want to hear this crap. Don't even want to hear it. Bunch of bullshit, if you ask me. That being said, folks, I'm going to take a quick break and I'll be right back after these words. Don't go anywhere. Got a couple more topics here on the show.
The Patriot Angle Podcast on demand.
Hey guys, back to the show here. I want to get to this next topic here before I forget. Literally, a new story coming out just yesterday, actually, that now people are saying that, and they're trying to make this, I guess, a law. God willing, if it doesn't go, hopefully it doesn't go to that level, that unvaccinated Americans should not be allowed to work, have access to even the public. Check this out, guys.
Is for getting vaccines, right, is contributing to this precipitous drop in the pace of vaccination in this country. And as you point out, we saw it at CBAC. We're seeing it from Republican lawmakers, from other Trump supporters, right? Pushing the hesitancy, pushing the resistance onto others. Here's just a brief summation.
Don't come knocking on my door with your Fauci outie. You leave us the hell alone.
Do you know any people who got sick or died from the virus?
I know 3 people who got it and died. But you know what? I know people who got cancer and died too.
Right.
Do you know 3 people who died from coronavirus and you won't get the vaccine?
No, I don't. Like I said, I don't need the vaccine.
And the government was hoping that they could sort of sucker 90% of the population into getting vaccinated, and it isn't happening, right? There's a younger people.
You heard the cheers. You heard a man who was saying, equating cancer to the virus when there's virus, obviously a vaccine that would prevent those deaths. What's your reaction when you hear all this?
Well, it's horrifying. I don't know any cancer patient who, if they were offered a shot that was 90% effective, wouldn't take it in a heartbeat. So we are in a situation where we have a wildly effective vaccine, multiple choices, lots available, free of charge, and we have folks who are just saying, I won't do it. I think that it's time to say to those folks, it's fine if you don't choose to get vaccinated. You may not come to work. You may not have access to a situation where you're going to put my grandchildren.
Are you kidding me, lady? This is the sickness in this country that we're dealing with. The sickness. Oh, it's fine if you don't want to get vaccinated, but you shouldn't be allowed to go to work. You shouldn't be allowed to be near my children, my family. You shouldn't be allowed near public. If there was a vaccination for cancer, you think people would get it in a heartbeat? Folks, no matter what vaccination gets tested in labs anywhere in this world or this country, for that matter, folks, vaccinations are not designed to cure any disease or any virus. You're always going to have a disease. You're always going to have a virus. Okay? Curing your immune system is the way you treat it naturally, not with medication, naturally. And if somebody doesn't want to take vaccinations, they should not be criticized or ridiculed in that matter. And look what these people are doing. They're ridiculing people because they don't want to take a vaccination. Remember when we were pushing the my body, my choice scenario with the abortion? Oh, it was fine for a woman to get abortion, but now it's not fine for somebody not to get a vaccination. It's the other way around, right? The other way around. Let's just continue to say, my body, my choice. If I don't want somebody sticking a needle in the side of my arm, that's my God-given right, right? Check more about this. The sickness in this country. Terrible.
In jeopardy, where you might kill them, where you might put them in a situation where they're going to carry the virus to someone in a high-risk position. That's, I think, the point where we are, is freedom is one thing, but freedom when you harm others, like secondhand smoke and issues that we've dealt with very clearly in the past. You can't drive drunk. You can drink, but you can't drive drunk because you can injure other people. You can't smoke inside of a public place where
Shut
you
this
can
woman
give...
off. Shut her off. You're just thinking about this now, lady? Secondhand smoke, drinking and driving. It's been going on for years. And now all of a sudden it's become a headline? Listen, people in this country are going to do what they want to do. It's called freedom. We are allowed to expose ourselves anywhere we want to expose ourselves. That means walking down the street, going into a restaurant. We should not be ridiculed because we don't want to get a freaking vaccination. I mean, like I said, this is becoming a cult. Literally a cult. The new norm in America. You will be criticized and ridiculed if you don't get vaccinated. I mean, that's what it's coming down to. Literally. This is coming from the woman that you just got done hearing, is the former Obama administration Health and Human Services Secretary, Kathleen Sebelius, if I said that correctly. This was just a few days ago on Tuesday on CNN's Outfront, stating that Americans who have not received a coronavirus vaccination should not be allowed to work or have access to the general public and be limited on where they are allowed to go. Folks, that will never happen. You know why it will never happen? Because we have freedoms and liberties in this country that protect it. And if it does get to a point where they block that, your country is literally bought and sold for by the radical left. And we will become an enslavement as in a nation. Because if you are going to dictate if somebody should work or not, or even be allowed to go to work without not getting a vaccination, that is against the Constitution of the Bill of Rights of this country. There's freedoms and liberties in this country for a reason. And then she goes to say, listen to the more of the sickness. We're in a situation where we have a wildly effective vaccine. Oh, they're claiming that this vaccine is widely effective. Oh, if it's so widely effective, why are you still making or telling people to wear masks when they take an Uber or a Lyft? That they should wear masks if it's still widely effective? If this is such a widely effective vaccine, why are you still requiring people to wear masks if they are vaccinated on public transportation, such as buses and trains, right? I mean, am I right or wrong? I mean, and then they'll go to even say to people, why do people not want to go to get vaccinated? This is free of charge. Why? Because people don't want it. It's quite simple. It's their freedom of choice, their body, their decision on if they want to get the damn vaccine or not. Why are people being criticized and then go into points of extreme measures? Oh, they shouldn't be going to work if they're not vaccinated because they can contract this and carry this disease to the next person. This is terrible. Terrible, terrible stuff what's going on in this country. Literally. I mean, another story. Checkpoint Society. Yes. An article here on Breitbart. Checkpoint Society. On now, they want to literally, pretty much strengthen the vaccine passports in airports. Yeah. And this is now being effective here in, where is this coming at? Germany, yes. Privacy campaigners have condemned as the makings of a checkpoint society calls by Prime Minister Boris Johnson for large venues to adopt entry by vaccine passport only as a matter of responsibility. What? Folks, this vaccination mask up, like I said, I'm calling it a cult, guys, because it's getting a little out of hand. Announcing last night at the end of the legal restrictions will come Monday, Prime Minister Johnson needlessly said that he and the government expect and recommend that people wear a face covering in crowded and enclosed places or spaces where you come into contact with those you don't normally meet, such as on public transport. Sorry, guys. Let me get a glass of water here. I'm running out of words here, and I'm getting a little mix-ups here. Bear with me. Much better. Johnson also pressured venues to adopt on NHS-enabled domestic vaccine passport, thus denying service to those without it, saying, and as a matter of social responsibility, we're urging nightclubs and other venues with large crowds to make use of the NHS COVID pass, which shows proof of the vaccination, a recent negative test, or natural immunity as a means of entry. Oh my God, they're going to extremes where they're not even going to allow you into a nightclub or a venue unless you show proof of you getting the vaccination. Ugh. Folks, if civil liberties in Germany are bad, oh boy, folks, the government, it must be scary to live in that country. I'm telling you, folks, it's getting worse and worse. I'm telling you. I mean, seriously, I mean, they're pushing this vaccination to crazy scenarios. Terrible stuff. Be right back, folks, after these words. Don't go anywhere.
As your small business changes, your business insurance should too.
It's time to get a second opinion on our insurance.
Our small business insurance experts will give you a second opinion you can trust. Get an instant quote and save up to 20% with Viberg.
Patriot angle.
So the Tennessee Department of Health has yet to comment on this. But Joy, Should teens take matters into their own hands if they feel they should get vaccinated in school? And it's allowed in Tennessee, by the way.
Uh-huh. Well, you know, we like to think we're smarter than our kids, but a lot of times the kids are smarter than their parents. I mean, I've experienced my daughter as having more sense than I had at various times in my life. So I would give them more credit. And, you know, when they watch, these kids are watching a room full of people at that CPAC convention applauding the fact that Biden is not going to reach his vaccination goal.
Yeah, I know that.
The freedom to get sick and die. They're watching their parents behave really stupidly, in my opinion. And I think that these kids should be allowed to make their own decisions, frankly. You know, I mean, a lot of times the kids, even with the situation, I mean, I don't want to bring abortion into this, but sometimes you have young girls who are afraid to tell their parents that they're pregnant because some uncle has molested them or some horrible thing has happened to them and they can't get permission to get an abortion. And I think that kids sometimes should have the ability to do what the science is telling them to do. And a lot of kids, I mean, according to Dr. Fiscus, the Tennessee Department of Health has now been instructed to stop promoting vaccines of any kind for children. I mean, let's make measles great again. You know, bring back polio. Is that what they want to do in these states? These kids are at the mercy of these ignorant parents, in my opinion. And yes, they should be allowed to do it.
Oh, shut up. Ignorant parents? Oh, the parents are ignorant because they don't want their teens or their kids to get vaccinated. Maybe they want them to build their immune system naturally the way our bodies and God literally designed us to be. We have natural immune systems in our body. Stop pumping the pills and the shots. But this just comes from a leftist type of organization such as The View. Yeah, you just heard Joy Beer and her co-host this past Tuesday on The View saying that teens should be allowed to get vaccinated without their ignorant parents' consent. Oh, yeah, the parents are ignorant because they don't want their kids to be vaccinated. What a bunch of crap. What a bunch of crap. And I applaud these parents that don't want to get their kids vaccinated. Good for you. You're their parents. You think you do what's right for them, right? That's their parents. But no, according to The View, they're ignorant because they don't want to get their kids vaccinated. And then you look more into the segment here that the host there from The View says the teens take matters into their own hands if they feel they should get vaccinated in school. First of all, they can't take the matters into their own hands, you Nimrod, because they're under 18 years old. And then they also say that we like to think we're smarter than our kids, but a lot of times the kids are smarter than their parents. I've experienced a daughter having more sense than I had at various times of my life. Oh, really? Oh, yeah, that's why you are the way you are, because you're a Nimrod. You're an idiot. And that's why your views are down. I'm telling you. And then they go into it even more. This is the sickness, folks. The sickness in this country. It's becoming sick. It's becoming unjust. It's becoming un-American. They look what the pitch they say right here. That these kids are watching a room full of people at the CPAC convention applauding the fact that Biden is not going to reach his vaccination goal by the end of the summer. Thank God that more than 50% of Americans aren't literally drinking the Kool-Aid, so to speak, and having their mindsets manipulated and brainwashed by this administration. Thank God. And I applaud that these kids are actually understanding the differences between right and wrong. Yeah. And then The View, this sick show, even says that they're applauding the freedom to get sick and die. Yeah. You notice how I use the word sick and die. Yeah, everybody's just gonna magically die from COVID, right? What a bunch of crap. They're watching their parents behave really stupidly. Oh, it's stupidly? Folks, it's a freaking vaccination. It's up to you if you want to get it. Why are we being criticized of not getting it? It's our God-given right if we want the damn vaccination or not. Right? Seriously. And then she wants to bring abortion. Don't even go there, lady. Because when we brought up abortion, you guys looked at us like, it's my body, my choice. Blah, blah, blah. Shut the hell up. No one wants to hear your craziness. Sorry, folks, I'm getting a little abrupt today. But I woke up this morning. The producers over at Spotify basically, emailed me a lot of heated topics saying, Mike, we think you should talk about this on your show today. And, I did. I do listen to the producers of Spotify, Anchor, and other sources because I think it's important that we should be talking about this. But, I'm very, very upset of what's going on in this country, that we're dealing with this sense of crap. Craziness. It's terrible. I mean, it's
Congressmember, if the pandemic taught us anything, the horror of this last year, it is that we are all in this together. I mean, not only in this country, but all over the world. If one person is sick, we are all vulnerable, which means we all have to protect each other. According to the New York Times, at the end of March 30th, 86% of shots that have gone into the arms worldwide have been administered in high or upper middle income countries. Only 0.1% of doses have been administered in low income countries. In Haiti, for example, they haven't gotten a shot. They haven't gotten a vaccine at all.
Their choice, lady.
What has to be done in this country? Now the discussion today specifically is, should Americans get a third booster shot? And of course, there are many areas of grave concern in the United States where less than a third of the population is vaccinated. But let's look at the rest of the world. What can the U.S. do, and you as a representative do, and Congress do?
Well, I think that there's a lot that we can do. And one thing that is extremely concerning is that if only the wealthy are being vaccinated, then the majority of the population in the world is not being vaccinated. And if that is the case, then we are not protecting ourselves from the virus, and we frankly are setting up the virus and COVID for being around for generations.
We have 20 seconds.
So I believe that we should be examining tools, whether it's the Defense Production Act or whether it is other modes of mechanism, that we look at this as a defense issue, and that we mobilize mass production of vaccines and export them across the world. And in additionally taking on the big pharma companies that are trying to profit off of mass vaccinations. They should be free and fully available to people around the world.
What? Did you hear that, folks? Are you hearing this? This sick congresswoman, the bartender from Queens, AOC, and others, I'm sure, is calling for the use of Defense Production Act to export the vaccinations worldwide and nationwide here in the United States. They want to literally use the Defense Production Act to enable mass production of these vaccinations. What the hell? You're going to force people to take vaccinations? Folks, where is this going? I don't understand it. I'm afraid to even understand of where it could possibly go. Folks, this is terrible. This is, if one person is sick, we're all vulnerable? What? Which means that we have to protect each other. Folks, There has been diseases and viruses going on in this world for thousands upon thousands of years. How do you think other people survive these other diseases? They use common sense. Common sense. Why is this country and perhaps the rest of the world going kooky for Cocoa Puffs over this stupid vaccination? It's stupid. If you don't want to get the shot, why do you have to be criticized? And then on top of that, AOC and I'm sure others want to invoke a defense program, a Defense Production Act to mobilize mass production. First and foremost, folks, if you heard that correctly, they are going to extreme levels, and they will go to extreme levels. Folks, we have to protect our democracy. Our liberties, our freedoms, folks, are literally under attack. And the only people that could change that is you, the American people. It's time to step up, stand up, and fight for what you believe in. You need to voice your opinions. We need to save our democracy. We need to save our country because it is being hijacked by a source of political leadership that we've never seen in this country ever before. Yes, we had the Spanish flu and, the AIDS and HIV epidemic in the 80s, but this pandemic, this coronavirus, this COVID-19 is topping them all, folks. I mean, these politicians are going to very, very radical, extreme measures and literally violating your liberties and freedoms every day. That's my closing, folks. We need to protect this country more than ever. It's up to you.
You just heard an episode of the Patriot Angle podcast, an Anchor platform.